Welcome aboard Crafter Sapiens, it's me Samira. Ever since a year I've been working with clay and miniatures. So with my 1 year's experience in clay molding, I have decided to challenge myself to make me. Before we get started, comment down below and let me know if you ever worked with clay before, and if you did, what was it that you made? Also, give this video a like if you want me to make more clay related videos. Alright, let's begin. First, I'm going to narrate how I made the miniature self step by step, and then you get to see how it turned out at the end. So stay tuned and watch the video till the end. But first, let's see what are the things that I used to make the clay miniature. You're going to need air dry clay, talcum powder, water because you'll get dehydrated sweating. You're not supposed to work under a fan when you're working with air dry clay, fabric glue, sculpting tools. I did not use any professional tools. I've only used the things that are around us like detail knife, toothpick, skewer stick, dotting tools, safety pin, ruler, etc. And lastly, the most important thing, a reference photo of you. It's better if you can take the photo in different angles because we'll be sculpting all around. In my case, this is the photo that I've used. Before you start working with your clay, sprinkle the surface with some talcum powder. Since we have to be very quick when working with air dry clay because it gets dry in 20 minutes, so we'll be working in small chunks and assembling all of them in the end using clay or fabric glue. First, I've made a cuboidal structure for the upper part of the body. Here's an important tip that no one tells you. When working with air dry clay, make sure to remove all the jewelry from your hands like your rings, and do not get a manicure done because it will get ruined. On top of this structure, I'm going to attach the clothing for a seamless finish and cut the excess with the detail knife. I've added some extra layer of clay around the hip because the top I'm wearing is like an umbrella. This is the very top that I'm wearing. To make the leg, I first rolled a cylinder and then attached a small clay piece at the back to make the calf muscle. Now this had to be blended several times. Here's another tip, if you want to smoothen the surface, then go over with a wet finger on top of the clay, or you can also use talcum powder. I've used a toothpick to make the leg for support, but I've removed it at the end. Making the first leg is easy, but making the second one is a real challenge because it should look exactly like the first. I took an hour to make the second leg, and yet it was shorter than the first. I've also made two tiny hands that are giving a pose. My intention was to make the hands such that they give the pose which is like this, one hand on the hip and one hand holding the camera. To make the bottom part of the dress, I have rolled a thin piece of clay and I cut it into a trapezoidal shape, something like this, but with the bottom a bit curved. I stuck this piece to the clay structure using fabric glue, and I blended the part where the two edges meet using water and some toothpick. I used a wet skewer stick and a toothpick to give the frills for the dress. Okay, now it's time to make the face. Making an accurate face depends on your sculpting skills. Since I'm totally new to sculpting faces, this was a challenging part for me. I've referred to some videos before getting started with this. So these are the basic guidelines to make the face that I understood. First, you'll have to decide the shape of the face. In my case, it's a little oval and round. Decide where the eyes are and push inside to make the eye sockets and put a nose in the middle. For making the cheeks, I have rolled 2 balls of clay and I have stuck them on the either side of the face, and I've blended them thoroughly into the face so that they look smooth. Fast forwarding a little bit, I have attached the hands to the body using glue and some clay. I've made 2 collar bones below the neck. The placement is a little off here, it should actually be under the neck, and I attached the neck to the body using some clay. I also stuck 2 tiny ears. I made a tiny camera as well, that's my favorite part. If you can carefully see, to attach the feet to the sharp legs, I have used some clay at the joint and I blended on either sides evenly so that it looks like a smooth transition from the leg to the feet. At this point, I was devastated because it did not look anything like I imagined. But trust me, adding the hair and painting it makes all of the difference. To make the hair strands, I first attached some clay at the front and I later attached some clay at the back, and I also stuck a tiny clay ponytail at the back just like the one I always wear. I've drawn the hair strands using a toothpick. Once the whole structure was dried, this is how it looked like. Unfortunately, while the piece was drying, it accidentally fell down and it broke into pieces. The hand, the leg and the feet, all of them came apart. Overall, it was a disaster and I was heartbroken. Luckily, I could fix it by using fabric glue and letting it dry overnight. But still, the miniature is very delicate, so make sure you preserve it properly once you finish doing it. Then I made a circular shaped clay disc and I attached the 2 feet at the bottom. I painted it using normal acrylic paints and I left it to dry overnight. You can use spray varnish or clear nail paint to protect it from dust. After working for 3 whole days on this project, now is the time for the big reveal. Are you ready to see the final result? Okay, 3, 2, 1, here it is. Does she look exactly like me? No. Does she look like my possible elder sister? Maybe. So the moral of the story is, always shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll land among the stars. Or the space. Or the black hole. Just kidding, I learned a lot about proportion and the principles of sketching while doing this project, and I would highly recommend you to try this at home. So what do you think of this clay miniature? Are you inspired to make one for yourself? If you do, then do share the picture with me on Instagram or Facebook. All the links are in the description box below. I will feature them in my next video. Do subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell right beside it, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!